What's up, everybody? And welcome to another Stone DM with guests again.
Hello.
Would you guys like to introduce yourselves? Some more members of the All Bear crew here.
I'm Roxy. I play Aurelia, our kind of feisty sun elf.
Can I play Lafian, the lovable paladin?
And you are which paladin? Oath of the Crown, right?
Yes, yes. It is imperative that my princess succeed.
That's right, and Aurelia is the princess of the elves, which has been very interesting so far. And you're which cleric? Life?
I'm a trickery cleric.
Trickery,
You wouldn't be able
yeah.
to tell because I'm not super tricky.
Well, you have tried.
Yes.
There have been some moments where you have given us a few tricks. However, Lafian seems to see through most of them.
He's my
Third
third.
investigator.
Yep. It kind of works well in that dynamic, but he's like nerdy investigator, and I'm not like a charlatan trickster though. I'm just trying to get out of responsibility.
Yeah, see, that's probably why I thought you were Life. I've totally forgot. Well, no, because you do the pass without a trace and stuff. So yeah, you have totally trickery.
Mm-hmm.
Walked myself right into that one. See, this is how I set myself up for failure as the DM, is by forgetting these things and then setting up plots and stuff. And you guys are like, "Oh yeah, easy fix. Watch this." Like,
Look, all of you guys need to know is I make sure everybody stays alive. All clerics heal. I'm doing my job.
You have done some actually rather important healing in opportune moments. You saved Caldian, which I didn't expect.
I'm a monster. I'm a brat. I'm not a monster.
And it's kind of fitting that he is so good at the investigation and, uh, you know, finding things, since you did leave home without a guard.
Mm-hmm.
The one guard you do have is actually good at keeping track of you.
Mm-hmm.
And since she has, like, basically told her mother that I'm the guard, it's imperative that I don't lose her, because I could die.
Yeah.
Well, Lavian's not doing so hot out in the wild anyway. He's had a couple rough moments.
Lafian's gotten beat up.
Frontline warrior, man. Paladin, let's get it.
Yeah, he's
Fight
gaining
armor, it doesn't matter.
some real experience. Well, I mean, to be fair, and to your credit, you took some shit armor to start, and you only recently gained your good armor. So it hasn't really had a chance to do anything yet.
That, and I missed that I was supposed to add 2 points of dex to my character that I never added. We're not doing it now.
I
We're here.
still don't understand. Like, you just forgot the math?
Well, I have the +1 wisdom, but when I was looking at the Paladin thing on the wiki, it's not finished. And the actual Paladin I found, and it says 2 and 1.
He didn't do the 2-to-1 score one to another. He just gave himself +1.
Yeah. So there it is.
Oh, for the starting stats.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, you silly boy.
Oh yeah. So I should be a little bit more tough, but I'm just not. A little bit quicker, but I'm not.
Well, you know, maybe that comes with time, experience.
Maybe.
It kind of makes sense for your character because you're kind of not supposed to be great. Like,
No, not great.
Well,
Not by any means.
He can evolve into greatness a little easier now too if the time ever arises. You know, if some situation comes up to where like maybe you feel like you earned those points now, like.
yeah.
If I can beat Charlie in a fight, then yeah, because I don't think I can.
I'm not sure very many people can beat monks in single combat.
No.
Because
crazy.
I used
No
the
experience.
for the single fight that we had with you, I used the gladiator out of the OG 5th edition handbook
Mm-hmm.
straight, and like for you guys, it was pretty fair.
Like
For
no,
Charlie, I mean, not to mention my rolls didn't go above a fucking 5.
Don't you hate that?
It just there was nothing I could do. And then when he gave him a disadvantage, it's like, oh, okay, like, fuck.
They're, like unhittable though.
I had a 20 something, 21 AC or something, and I was still getting just mollywopped. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I rolled really good against you. Like, that was just coincidence, but like I couldn't get above a 5 on Charlie. But no, I just used the gladiator, and Charlie, as the monk, just didn't even know they were fighting. Like, how embarrassing.
Yeah, that's super embarrassing.
It's
That was a
like,
great moment, though.
It was fun.
We
oh,
were fighting.
oh shit. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I like how John plays that stuff. It always throws me for a loop.
Crazy hard. I feel like John's the challenge to DM for it because you have no idea what's about to happen.
Yeah, he really brings a different dynamic to the game, just because he doesn't know what he's gonna do until it happens, and like he doesn't have anything in his head about his character.
But it never seems out of character either for whoever he's playing. So it's like, at least he knows who he is.
Yeah, it's really good. I forgot what I was gonna say, so I looked at you and I lost it.
That's my job.
Take it easy, ladies. You've been hearing a loss of words.
You played Ramon as the monk, and you took on like 4 fucking werewolves in one fight.
Oh yeah, that patient defense, really, really good.
Right, that's the disadvantage because he's playing the same style monk as you. The open hand, right? Open
Yes.
palm.
And I think in that fight, I exclusively didn't stun and strike you just because I was like, I want to sit here and not get hit with patient defense while they kill the backfield and I keep these guys distracted. And that's kind of how I played it. And then I realized how important the positioning and that kind of stuff was, like, in that moment.
Yeah, so
Storm in pain, so I just walked through fire and said fuck it and tried to kill her early.
great character. I still believe Soren saved Strahd like the
was
entire
pretty
campaign.
It was pretty cool, actually. I like Soren. She's still my favorite character, so.
But there is a decent way to handle monks. However, it is not single combat. It's a lot of AoE shit. Or, spell saves. Make them do the work.
Until they learn evasion, then it kind of throws it out.
Do they get that?
Oh yeah. Monks are really good, and people hate them. It doesn't make any sense. It's probably up to this point, it's been my favorite class.
Oh,
So
really?
many people online you see are like, oh, monks are trash. And it's like, I think you're just playing them wrong. Because they're not supposed to be like a barbarian or a warrior.
Well, it depends though, because like if you want to be the guy who's killing blows and stacking damage, they're trash.
It's not for you. Yeah.
Especially early. But once they get up there, now you're hitting 5 fucking times and you're doing 11, 12 damage each. Now you're a wrecking crew.
50 feet of movement and all kinds of shit. Like,
Oh my god.
they're so fast.
At level 5 monk, you can literally run across the battlefield, stun and strike one guy, stun and strike another guy, and then run up to a third guy and start punching them while those 2 are stunned behind you. Your party can wipe them while you're up in the front. Like, it's crazy what you can do with a monk.
And now you got no key points. Short rest.
You still got 3 key points, man, or 2 key points at this point. Depending on if you want to use a flurry of blows or not. And then you could do like a flurry of blows topple and give people advantage on him too. It's crazy.
Yeah, I want to play monk, but I'm between that and a barbarian for John's campaign.
Ooh.
Fun.
Yeah, so it's either a halfling barbarian or a dragonborn monk. I
Ooh.
haven't really decided yet, but their incarceration is probably going to be pretty similar, but we'll see.
It's about the flavor. I don't know why I like playing a cleric so much because I even contemplated being a cleric again if Aurelia died. And I was like, why do I keep picking cleric? But I think the subclasses have such cool flavor to them.
There's
And
so
that's
many of them too.
yes.
And then
It's really
you
neat.
also want, enjoying the DM thing. Do you ever consider being a character just so you can learn that like class or race, and not really having an interest in that like personally, but like you just want to know the game better?
Yeah, because what I'm worried about is like I keep warning people like maybe don't play a rogue when I'm DMing because I feel like I'm gonna be pretty strict about it.
Yeah.
And like I also don't understand the rogue very well. Like that's the one that I'm like, yeah, I don't get it, but I'm the DM who's like, no, you're not gonna be able to hit somebody and then just hide. Uh, you know, I'm I love Dungeon Dudes, and Monty brings up the point that if somebody saw you and saw you go behind a pillar, they know where you're at. Like you're not hidden, and I'm like, yeah, I kind of see that.
Right, but if you hide there and move, now your stealth roll's high enough to, have you move to another advantageous point. They think you're here and you're not. So like
True.
there are ways to utilize that how you do
Mm.
it. They just have to be able to have another place to get to and roll high enough stealth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the
I'll let you hide.
going
I don't give a
hand
fuck.
aspect of running behind something, having somebody chase you there, and as they're going around it, you're kind of sneaking around behind them. Like, I think that's cool. Yeah.
I'm down with
She
anything. If
hates
you
it though
guys tell
because
me a good idea,
she hates fun.
I'm pretty open though. I feel like I'm pretty open, and I let a lot of bullshit happen. Okay, like spiders being trapped with web and put off with web.
That was a good roll.
Yeah.
no, it's a lot of fun, and I enjoy all the different play styles of the DMs too. I was just talking about, well, we were talking about John's campaign, so.
Yeah.
Chance
Yeah.
definitely shouldn't have made it, but like the character dynamic between him and the cook, and
One of my favorite moments ever still is in John's campaign where he let us all like go put together like our skills and scare an entire room of people to death.
stacked
We
on
did
top
such
of
a
each
great
other.
good job. Yes. That's rewarding creativity.
It's like the myth monster or whatever.
Mhm.
They jumped out
That
a
was
window
really
and shit.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's so
That
reckless.
when it all comes together, it's really something special.
And then in the other rooms where you had Vince McCork.
Sweet chin music.
And then
Out
we
of
just
nowhere.
threw them all out the window.
Really, that's what I think sets D&D apart, though. Like, I love Baldur's Gate, and video games are really fun and stuff, but you can't do anything anywhere else like D&D. You can't just come up with whatever you can think of and have that creativity rewarded.
Pretty close though.
It is.
Yeah, I kind of wish that John would use his improv a little more. Maybe not the pushing of the off the bridges thing, but like, and like I made the mention before, or like you guys like explaining what you're seeing in the moment too is like trying to incorporate that a little bit more. But it's so hard in the moment, like while you're there trying to get things going and listen and let people have their time, like. But I'd like to see us being a little more free, like, but also it's like, what kind of character are you playing and stuff too? Like Lafian would never do anything like that.
Right.
I do. I'd like to be more descriptive when, like, fighting and stuff. I think that would be more fun to really describe what we're doing in battle, to really accentuate who those characters are. I think that's the next step. We're almost there.
Definitely trying to. It's hard, especially if you're like doing the same thing a lot.
That's what I was trying to do when I was trying to like describe the spear bash or the shield bash and the spear attack and him, like I'm trying to
Oh,
be
that was
better
great.
at that and like hopefully we can bounce off each other a little bit more and kind of create that vision a little better for everybody too. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, are there ever any moments where you guys have held yourselves back, like something your character might do, or you think they would do that you just can't do yourselves in any of the campaigns?
I hold myself back constantly because I'm very much like I don't want anybody else to have a bad time because like I'm fucking it up sort of thing. Like I'm always like, oh, but that'll make that person upset maybe, or oh, like maybe that wouldn't be a good idea to do or say. And I'm always worried about having like main character syndrome too, especially with Aurelia.
Um, so has there been a situation though, like a moment you can remember where you were like, I really want to do this, but no.
I don't think so. I mean, pretty much, I just kind of go with the flow of what I would think my character would do without it being invasive. But most of my characters have restraint or are pretty normal minded. I haven't played anything too chaotic yet. Like Peter was one of those first times where I was like, oh, I'm just gonna eat candy right now. Like I'm just gonna shove like a bunch in my mouth because it's candy. He's gonna do that. So
Right, right, right. Yeah, you did not hold back in that campaign, and I thought that was very on character, and I loved it. And that's kind of like the moments that I'm like looking for.
you could see when I did that the first time, her eyes went like wide
Oh yeah, they're
because she was
supposed
like,
to.
"Are you kidding me?" Now she's rolling a bunch of dice, and I don't know what's gonna happen.
I feel like it was a lot of chaos DMing that campaign, but that campaign was meant for chaos kind of. And it helped me DM better because it was like, oh my god, I feel like these are some of the wildest characters and some of the craziest scenarios. But I handled it and I dealt with it, and like I feel like it ended up pretty good in the end. So
I guess that's another good question. As a DM, is there ever a moment where you kind of wish someone would do a little more or less as a character?
I've never felt that. I felt like I hold myself back a little bit because I'm like, oh, I don't want to like I'll like create something kind of deadly and then I'll pull back and be like, oh, but like that's mean. Like I have trouble being mean as a character or a DM, let alone DM. Um, but I've never been like, oh, you guys need. I wish you'd do more or less. I think you guys are always just so much fun to watch and just exciting. I can't think of a specific scenario where I'm like, I should have done something or I wanted to do something and I didn't. I feel like I probably wanted to maybe like disguise myself more or run away a little bit more and stuff as Aurelia, but it's one of those things that it's just the scenarios haven't come up. Like I feel like my team's pretty agreeable and actually listens to me a little bit, or like comes with me.
Well, fortunately, you ended up finding three pretty passive characters to be with, and the only real hiccup you've had so far is meeting Aggie, and that's been you guys in a more like not tense, but you guys are a bit more louder and abrasive, so that conflicts with a little bit. So watching you guys kind of bounce off each other and learn
Mm.
is interesting to watch.
Very different worlds. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of like clash just between regular common ideas about just how to go through the day, and it's actually really fitting because you just collected all of these people and they were all just like, yep.
We'll be a
and,
good boy.
and like you collected this one too, but differently. You had to use, you know, your charm, and you had to use your leadership tactics to employ this person to help you save Lafian. Like,
Yeah. Which I was super worried about. And yeah, I
Well,
was like, just getting thrust and responsibility all the time with this character.
yeah, well, and also maybe it wasn't the best tactic as a leader to give away, the most precious heirloom,
Yeah.
but it worked.
I had no idea. I had no idea what else to do, and I was just like, I don't like have anything interesting on me. Like, my character just doesn't have that much, and like,
Well, according to
I'm not
you,
swayed by a lot.
according to everyone else, you have very many things
True.
that are all worth a lot. um, Back to the reservation though. I maybe with chance I could have held back a little bit more. I don't know if I should have or not, but like sometimes I feel like I took a little too many liberties as a player in that campaign.
I think in hindsight, still being new to D&D, it was fine because like that's who he was. So like temperaments aside, when I think back of it, I'm probably more embarrassed as a player because I'm like I wasn't even mad like for like a moment because like that was chance like and when I think about that campaign like I loved it like there's nothing I hated about like Kaplan was just a grumpy dude and you elicited like a real emotion out of me with chance which was what Kaplan would have did he would have been pissed so like it made sense so it worked. So when I think about it, I'm like, wow, Chance and Tackler were really perfect for that campaign together to kind of antagonize each other.
Yeah, he fucked my whole world up. Fucking cook.
Honestly,
Chance still don't like him.
I don't think it was like that bad or anything. And the thing is, like I have trouble, like I said, because I'm like, okay, this is a collective experience, and I don't want anybody else to have a bad time or get anybody else hurt or killed because I'm being stupid. But like as we've seen, that could be really fun. Like just watching you guys in my campaign alone, just get your paws into literally everything. Like especially like the cacklers of the world, or just
Even going back to Chance, just being frustrated enough with you that I would push you down a hallway and almost get you killed instantly by a trap, but it ended up being a moment because I helped you help yourself in that moment. And then who got stuck in the trap? Me when I got grabbed by a mimic.
I would have been perfectly happy had you killed me.
I would have actually felt bad. Because
Well, I mean, it would have sucked, but it would have been like, that's fucking awesome. Like, I mean, because it would have been in character, in the moment, and that's what happens, bro.
yeah, that's one of my fears though. Like I don't want to cause somebody else to lose their character or something like that because like I'm being too stupid. And that was like it was hard for me to play Nestle. It was hard because I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do whatever because I feel like she'd do whatever. And like I have good reasons for it and I wrote her a certain way for that. And then I'm like, okay, am I like going into murder hoboism? Like how where's the line on this?
um, Michelle asked if we had wanted to play any other campaigns or if we had any ideas. Would you guys ever want to play any of the ones we've ran through already?
I'd play Chris's Throne again, especially.
Chris's Fraud especially, just to see more.
Yeah.
But
It's been small, and I feel like, well, Beyond the Witchlight, like I ran it very specifically, so I mean, you could run it the way it's supposed to, and it would be different. But I feel like the way it's written, being the DM for it, was just maybe not like our play style. It's kind of boring how it's written, in my opinion.
I think the other ones are short enough that remixing them would be pretty easy. Even just the two that I ran sessions, I rewrote so much of that original campaign that it's a shame you guys didn't get to see anything that was going to happen because I was like pretty overwhelmed. Wasn't really having a lot of fun DMing. I don't know how you guys do it, but I was just like, oh, this is actually pretty easy to rewrite and kind of just use the different locations we didn't see before. Because even in those campaigns, we really didn't see everything.
Right.
Yeah, see, I'd like to see the Lost Mines. I'd like to be a player in that one. I was real excited when you wanted to do that. I'm sorry you didn't like it, and I completely understand because it does take a lot of different type of effort to be a DM than it does to be a player.
Oh, we're having technical difficulties.
Yeah, we lost you a little bit.
Oh man.
It'll catch up.
There it is. Hey, oh, no, you're froze again.
Yeah, it's probably us.
Or was I just not moving?
No, if you're stuck like that, it's really funny.
Okay, I think we're getting there.
It could be mine too. Who knows?
Yeah, our internet's awful sometimes. Yeah, I mean, I'd be fine with basically any campaigns because I feel like every DM style is so different anyway that things are going to be different, and every character is always so different.
Yeah, I'm terrified of what you and John want to do.
Why?
Because you guys have the vision of a singular place. Like it has a lot of locations in the place, but it's one place. And it's like I understand the scariness of the open world and like you guys could go fucking anywhere. And it's like, oh no, like I have to, have things for that, but like one place scares me for some reason way more.
Mine's gonna be like kind of a country though, so there's gonna be a lot of different areas in mine.
Okay, because I thought you were like just mostly like we're in a castle.
No, you guys are starting in a castle, and
Okay.
then you gotta go do a bunch of other things.
Right,
There's
right,
gonna be a
right.
whole underground. There's gonna be all kinds of stuff.
Okay. Because like that's why I begged you guys not to go through Strahd's castle. I've actually had you guys not run through a bunch of giant dungeons on me.
Like my final castle was huge too, and I was ready to run it because it had so many interesting things. But I felt like we were just at that point where you guys were like, "I want to go home." You guys weren't like looking for things anymore. You'd already like accomplished so much that you're like, "Let's fucking go."
He didn't have a home. He was ready to stay for the long ride.
I was just ready to save everybody. Like the way you made it sound is like we have to do this. So I was like, we have to do this. Like I'm not here for the adventure. Like I love the Fae and this is great, but like we got jobs to do.
That's true. That's interesting because I probably did. Like I was trying to make a sense of urgency in a weird world, and maybe I was like, very urgent, very very urgent.
I don't know if it's anything you did in particular. I think that's just how Narai worked.
I really liked Narai. I thought Narai was really fun, and he was a really fun character that was chill enough to deal with the chaos of Ramanusia, Peter, and Tackler.
Because realistically, Ramanusia was the most chaotic in the campaign. Actually.
Well, like, and that's why, like, I always worried about like doing too much as Narai, but like at the same time, no one was doing anything. So like,
did you see who you were with?
Yeah, so like, I felt like Narai would have to move things forward. Because, like,
Yeah.
we do have a goal and we have a job, and you guys are not sticking to this at all. And
Just
he's
happy to be playing in the world, like, just,
right.
there's people now.
Right, no, and it's like, it's great for you guys, but like, I have to be with you. But we also have to save this place, and you guys just don't understand. But keep coming with me.
And Ramusia was slaying everything in her way to get to where she needed to get to, like...
She was just terrifying. And I thought she understood, but like, she's,
No.
you know.
I would say Narai was probably the main character of that campaign, actually.
The leader for sure.
At least the leader, because, like, nobody else was leading. It was me, Panther, Chaos, trying to figure out how to get stuff or do weird things, and Ramusia was just threatening and cutting her way through everybody, and you were just kind of like, no, we have to do this.
Well, I was terrified of her too, so it's like, I want to play, but like, we also have to go places, and like, she's scary, so like, I'm good.
Yeah, because like I prepared an entire dungeon that you guys skipped because everybody was afraid from Nukia. She was like, I want to go, and you guys as players were all like, yeah, I wanted to, but Ramnusia said no.
Well, no, I was opposed to that dungeon too, because I didn't like those little guys.
Mariah was so weird with NPCs. She was just like, I don't trust you for some reason.
No, the little people were weird.
That's why there's a whole druid grove filled with weirdos now.
Yeah, I was like, great. I invited him. I love Peter. I was very confused.
It was rough to play Peter all the time. That was probably the hardest character.
Well, yeah, especially when you wanted to be Harry, you know?
Well, it was the high energy, and especially like with my work schedule and hours, like I'm very tired. Like I come to D&D sometimes and I'm like, man, I don't know how I'm gonna make it through tonight. And then when we get going, I have fun, but I'm just exhausted. So like having to be a character that's high energy, I was like, oh no. And this is a longer campaign, so like I was like, I wasn't feeling the druid initially, and then finally I was like having a lot of fun being a druid, and
I
Peter
love
was
the druid.
fun, but he was exhausting.
Yeah, I could see Peter being exhausting. Have you guys ever wanted to play like a mute character or like something like that? Like, because John had tried to not talk in the beginning of yours, and it like didn't go as long as he had thought it would.
I can't shut up in real life. There's no way.
Yeah.
Like, I talk too much.
Because there always needs to, unfortunately, be somebody who is a leader.
Mm.
And your and Michelle's character in my campaign was, he's gonna fight everybody while you throw blood on everyone.
Yeah.
All the way doing creepy things. So like,
So John had to be the guy.
Yeah, that's fair.
I feel like in D&D you kind of get thrust into a leadership position. It kind of happens to me too many times, but like, you know, that's kind of what happened.
And for Strahd, it was very, everybody was kind of in it together. I think that's the only campaign where it felt like there wasn't a de facto leader.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know who the leader would be in Strahd. Calliope?
I mean, behind the scenes, technically Calliope, because she was manipulating everything. But
Ramon was onto her though.
Right. And everybody would like to satisfy Fuchs also because, like, you didn't want to upset Fuchs. So it's like, okay, well, what does Fuchs want to do?
And Soren was literally along for the ride. Like,
oh yeah.
What is happening? Can someone
Like...
please explain this to me? And they were like, here's the deal. And you were like, no, like explain it. And they were like, yeah,
And
that's
they're like,
it.
it sucks here. This
And
is
then
what
you were
it's
like, all right, well, okay, what?
Yeah.
I think you finally figured it out at the end.
And John always does have kind of weirder characters, but when he's a leader, like it's interesting because he can do it very well. Because when he was Psy, I consider Psy like the leader of that campaign. Like Psy was a completely different, made sense, and felt like the more driving force of the campaign.
He had more of a personal mission, but I felt like Jasper was too. Like, because he wanted to go certain places and get certain
He
things
was
done
the
to
driving force, but not the
Yeah.
leader. No one was
Right.
actually listening to him.
Being a paladin that nobody would listen to.
But he was like the engine.
It's because you cut your finger off initially, and then just let the sour taste in everybody's mouth. They're like, he's not leading nobody.
Yeah, fuck that guy. Oh, he's with us? Oh no. And Baff just couldn't be the leader.
No, he wouldn't know how.
Like he
Somebody would have to set up the entire campaign for him to lead.
like he's just okay. Wait, what?
Leader in that one.
And definitely at least the manipulated force through the campaign, because his mission was what John used to force everything through.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of messed up.
I love this campaign. And I love what you've done with the elves, especially, you let us write a lot of stuff with it. And you totally understood the vision, so.
Um, it's only been a day, but how do you feel about the whole Hearthstones and the ability to have the elves grow into a more viable people?
This is one of those moments where I have to decide what my character would do and not what I want. Because, like, again, I'm very agreeable. I'm just like, oh man, but everybody else is playing, and what would they want to do? And I don't want to make other people mad. But, like, Aurelia would definitely want her people to flourish, and she definitely, like, wants there to be a more common peace between, the people she's met that she likes now and, um, just like healing in general.
Lafian, I'm highly conflicted because I so desperately want to be accepted, but I also don't want to hurt anybody. And is that going against the crown? So that's where I'm like torn.
Yeah, and like I made friends with these people. I was one of the specific people who did it. So like I wasn't sitting on the sidelines of that because it was me and Aggie. And so that makes it even more difficult because I feel like if I wasn't there or I wasn't part of it, it would make a difference. I'd be able to be more selfish, but it's like, oh, but like, yeah, it's hard. It's a hard decision.
Um, so when you guys make your characters, how do you guys initially like start? Do you form an idea of who the person is, or do you start with like a race, or are you like I want like a kind of like this, or does any of that matter as long as you get to play the type of character it is?
I think I start a lot with like, oh, I wanna, play this cool subclass or this cool class, and how can I flavor that, and how would I want to, or how can I make it, a little different. Like I'll have a list of, like races and classes I want to play, and then like, okay, what can I do with it? Or, knowing what the campaign's going to be about, I'm like, oh, what would be interesting here?
You got one of those boards where you just mix and cross the
Mhm.
lines.
I'm just like, oh, like this and this would be really fun together.
Very, let me take this one thing and see how far I can stretch it. like I would say Tackling and Darren was more like, oh, let me create a story or whatever. That might be interesting. But Bath is like copycat. I'm gonna be a copycat,
You
so let's
so
see
you
how
wanted
far.
to play the Kenku on that one. You're like Kenku for
Yes,
like
yes.
yeah.
Double down
So a
on
lot of times you guys
Ramon.
start with like you start with a class, which race fits this class a little better, how, and then you start with more of a race, like
Yes.
race
Yeah, I wanna.
story class.
But that way, well, it's like I want something kind of different and interesting that maybe nobody else is probably gonna want to play. Which is why I pick a lot of little characters because they're kind of the odd ones out and less appealing for most people to want to play. So I was like, okay, I'll be the dwarf. Okay, I'll be a Kenku. Okay, I'll be a halfling. Like, let's see what we can do with it. And then with Ramon, it was like, well, what would be kind of fun and goofy as a monk? It's like, oh, somebody who's a dancer
Fucking
uses
beautiful.
dance moves to fight. You know,
Fucking beautiful.
like, but he's also a halfling, but he's like really sexy and passionate, and like it was like, let's just pull that as far as we can. But being a playboy, he had a wife, and it's like, kind of just trying to figure all that out.
I mean, I definitely like I do start with like something I just generally want to play. Like, um, I think Aurelia was a little different because um I was like, okay, I want somebody who takes some risks and is kind of tricky, but I don't want to be a rogue. I don't want to be the general thing. What can I do instead? Sorn was created because I was like, okay, I kind of like the more like dark elf story in Curse of Strahd. Can I work with that in some way?
Really cool.
And I just really like Drow.
Yeah, that was
And
perfect opportunity to play one too.
yeah, and I was like, okay, like I want to do that. I kind of want to be a badass. We don't really have like a big hulking force in this group. I think about the group dynamic a little bit too.
Okay.
But generally, when I look at characters, I'm like, I don't know. I guess I just have an idea and I go with it. Like I'm like, ooh, divination wizard. I want like kind of maybe to do this or I don't know.
I don't know how Lafian came up other than I was just like, oh, let's just work on something together. And I was like, sun elf, we're sun elves. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, hey, is there like an opposite of a sun elf, like sun and moon? And then it just kind of snowballed into what it became. And I was like, okay, well, she's really confident. I'm not going to be really confident. I'm just going to do the kind of opposite character of what she would be, except I'm the one protecting her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Now, as a DM or player, and same for you as a player, would you guys ever want to be the same class as somebody else, or would that ever stop you from being that character for a campaign? Um, how do you feel about same classes in a party? I personally, I wouldn't mind it. I think it'd be pretty cool. Each character brings their own dynamic, so I think it's easy.
As we've seen, I think, like we were just talking about how every bard has been played so incredibly different
Mm-hmm.
from everybody who's played it. Like, it's not really the class; it's what you do with it. So, I wouldn't mind at all. I do think about dynamics a little bit in the fact that, like, I don't want to step on toes, or we don't want, four barbarians and then we can't do anything else, but I don't care.
Yeah, we ain't talking no way out of that one.
Right. Just smash.
Yeah, I mean, like having you could probably put Calliope, Trix, uh, Bath, and Catford in a campaign, and they would all have a different
Mm-hmm.
thing to bring to the table
It was
because
very chaotic.
one was more of a rogue, one
I
was
ain't
more of a
running that
fighter,
game.
one was more of a charmer, and one was more magic based.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So different. Especially if they're different subclasses. I mean, if you had like two life clerics, that would be kind of like maybe we could flavor it up a little bit different.
It should be easy because they're so different from one another.
That's the thing, but picking different subclasses helps.
Mm-hmm.
War cleric if you want some extra hits and stuff. So I mean, yeah,
I love the word.
everyone could be cleric.
Mm-hmm.
You just there won't be a lot of hitting in that one.
But, there could always be a little bit of multi-classing.
True, that can help too.
I still feel like I'm not a big fan of multi-classing just yet because I still just want to see what these classes can do. But if there's a reason for multi-classing, I would never argue against it. Like I
I think it's fun for flavor.
yeah, I think we've played long enough to where it's definitely something that we can pull off pretty easily as far as as far as mechanics and stuff. Knowing your character is a big part of that. I just feel like I still want to see what these classes themselves can do as like a person. And but like if there's a reason for multi-classing, let's fucking go. Like.
Yeah, because I had thought about multi-classing Soren into fighter, and to me that made sense. And yeah,
So general. Like, some things just work together. Like, rogues and fighters are kind of so basic that they kind of just go into other things very easily.
Yeah, some of them you feel like you almost need like.
Yeah, sometimes it's just better than taking a bunch of feats and stuff like that to just bump into a level or two of fighter.
Yeah, the action economy you gain from certain things is really beneficial.
Mm-hmm.
And just action surge. Could you imagine a Hexblade Warlock with an action surge? Have fun. That's if you at 10 or 11, you get a pop off Eldritch Blast 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
Decent.
Fuck Eldritch Blast, stupid warlocks.
That's right. I had a one-handed great sword that got to use my charisma modifier, so I mean, pretty badass.
I love this game. What keeps you guys coming back weekend? Because like you said, you're tired and stuff. Like, is it just the joy, like from the game? Like, are there any reasons why
We like you. Is that what you want to know?
I know it's not me. Don't worry about that.
No, it is. But I enjoy all of you guys so much.
One, because I love all you guys. It's really, really fun just to get together and hang out, bullshit a little bit.
That's why we end up talking too long to each other and hanging out. We just like each other.
For me, it's really been very helpful just for my mental health to just role play, voice acts, play chess a little bit, and interact with people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like all of that also. I also like storytelling. Like, for me, it's a lot about the creativity. Like, it's not just sitting down and, scribbling things on your own and talking to people. It's like, oh, okay, it's a collective creative process. And I think that's really, really fun. It's a great outlet.
Well, the mental thing, also, like, that's why I had to change Strahd up, too, is because, like, Strahd sucks. But like, not only am I not great at telling horror stories, and, like, other people at the table would be much better suited at that. Like, your grotesqueness when you were DM was much better than anything I could ever do. But it was also enjoyable. Like, but, like, I don't think that's, like, our table. So, like, Strahd had to be lightened up. Now, I don't know if he had to be a door salesman, but, like, we got where we got,
It was very Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf Dracula. And me rolling.
I would be interested to see us do something a little more serious, and I feel like, some of the stuff I made homebrew and everything may have more serious tones to it, but I feel like we kind of all know each other a little bit enough that, we know it's role play, we know it's for fun.
Right.
I think session 0 and really saying like, hey, like I do really want this to be more serious,
Mhm.
would probably be like the change, because we could do Strahd again and in a darker, more serious tone.
I don't know that I would
think
want
it would
to,
be
you
fun,
know?
especially we know the game better, and like I don't think any of us were really expecting Strahd to go so hard. And we did that one very early where most people probably wouldn't have recommended us to.
It was a great learning experience. Like,
Yeah.
it was pivotal to our experience.
Although it did help you jump in your skill as a DM, 100%, because like the beginning of the campaign versus the end of the campaign was wildly different. And then just this campaign versus the end of that campaign has been wildly different.
This this shit is a lot of fun. You guys gave me a lot to work with, and all your like, and that's why I don't think that we're too far away from having a lot of serious moments. Is your guys' role play has gotten so much better, but it's also a big struggle as a DM to like cut you off now too. Is because like we got to go.
That's the hard part. I mean, I struggle with that too because people were role playing so well. It's like, when do I push people along?
Yeah, it's like I
And when
can't
do I
stop
let them?
this. Like,
Right. This is a great moment, and I want to stop it and be like, all right, we gotta actually do something today.
So I feel like even in the campaign that we're doing now, I feel like we're not too far away from someone like, all right, look, guys. Especially like I think maybe Boobo might have to like put a foot down here soon because like she's got some things she needs to do. And like yeah, these things are important, but like, what about Boobo?
I think this campaign has a lot of potential for a lot of seriousness too, because we're also all like intertwined in the story too.
But I've actually thought of like just breaking off from the party with Bubo and say just like take Aurelia home, guys, because like
I can't go there.
I've thought about it though. Like when we were separated, I was like, do we just go back to the dark woods or do we head forward and we meet up? Like I was conflicted on what we were gonna do.
I get
we
it
had the
though.
party meet up, so
You're in a
right, well,
very peculiar situation as a like player. Like, what are you gonna do? And like, what do you do after you guys handle whatever's at Fort Runoff?
That's gonna be a whole thing. Because, like, I might have to go home at some point.
and that's where I'm thinking is like, do we tell Charlie and Aggie to take Bubo back and we go forward? You know, like because like that's gotta get taken care of.
There's so many things to do.
And
Do
then
you have to stay home? Are you going to be able to plead your case to why you need to traverse the world and do these things? Is that even something that you care to do when you make it home and sleep in your bed? Like,
I mean, I feel like Aurelia's experienced so much stuff, and this is a really important moment. Like, she's gonna eventually realize these are the first people who genuinely liked her for her, and not just because she's a princess. Like, she's gonna realize that everybody around her's been fake. Like, maybe her brothers haven't even been that nice to her. Like, because this is the first time she's had like friends, and so I think it's gonna be really hard for her. And also, like, there's just a lot of things she's unlearning at this point. So,
well, even now, like you guys have had a couple real training sessions. You've never had to do that, and maybe you should have had to do that. Like this world is not easy.
I mean, she complains less about where we sleep and things like that. She's getting so used to it, and like she's taking care of other people instead, and like, so my worry is like I feel like her worry is I don't want to go home and be stuck there and just have responsibility. Like I want to see the world and meet the people I'm gonna have to deal with on a real level.
Yeah. Like, I'm really excited to see where you guys go with these characters, and I want to play this campaign forever, but like, I
I
also
know.
want to see what you guys do with new characters in the world and like how that evolves things. And it's like, man, we can do so
Um,
much with this.
I love that. I love that. You've created such a cool world for that. It's making it really nerve wracking to be a DM at a different time.
if anything does happen to us, we do have really good backup characters set up. I mean, I would have to probably switch some things if both of us went, but if only me goes, man, it's gonna get crazy. If only she goes, man, it's gonna get really interesting.
Yeah, he'll be an oath breaker.
hmm And I can't be afraid to let those things happen. But like
Right.
in situations again like the bag of devouring or something, like I can't also let my interest in things take you out as a player. Like that's not the quicksand. Like I told John, rolls are rolls. Like there's not a lot I can do about that.
I'm
But
fine with that as long as it's fair.
Right, exactly.
Like we've discussed before, there's some like traps and stuff where you can't find it and it insta kills you. Like I'm not cool with that. Like you just walk into something and oh you're dead by the way.
so you
And it's
get
like
this chance, and that's it. And you've never heard of this
yeah.
ever before in your life. So like, good luck.
But I thought that the way that the bag was ran was super fun. It made for like a very nerve wracking experience that wasn't immediately just deadly, but it could have
Super lucky on the rolls on that too, though. Like where they ended up, like.
been.
Just the cube, the gelatinous cube, was like, if I would have died there, it was 100% fair because I walked backwards into it while stopping Charlie.
And we've never seen the cube, but we all know about the cube. Like,
Right.
but like I thought it was
I'm
interesting because
100%.
we haven't had one yet, so I was like, fuck it, good place to have one. It'll be easy, no big Oh no.
And that's where being chaotic as a character is totally fine. And if you do something kind of stupid, you get yourself killed, that's okay. If it's a difficult fight and you go down fighting, that's okay. I'm totally fine with those situations. It's the situations where it's just like, oh yeah, you just got like shot off a mountain out of nowhere and you didn't see anything coming and nobody told you anything and now you're dead.
I feel like we need to climb more mountains though. Someone falls and dies.
No,
We don't need 60
no,
kills.
break it down to hell. I can't handle a mountain.
That's what I mean. Like, peace out, homie. I got this new character ready. Yeah. I just want to die as a player. I'm sorry. Like, all right. I know we've been running for a while. I'm sorry, but I got one more question, I guess. Being really the only player who has died, what does it feel like?
I felt like Neffley's death was fine. It was a pivotal moment that was really changed the trajectory of the team, and I mean it was fair because she kind of fucked around and found out. And I mean, essentially, like, and she tried to turn up a little bit of a leaf by doing the right thing. So I felt like she was able to go in a kind of, I wouldn't say peace, but in a way that made sense. It is really hard to come halfway into a campaign knowing what happened and then be a character who has no idea what's going on. Especially since that was our first time, and it was like nobody realized they had to tell me what was going on. Like, I'm not Netflix anymore. I just fucking got here. But it was sad. I was sad because I was like, I didn't get to do anything I wanted to with this character. Nobody got to hear his story. Nobody got to like experience the things that I had prepared. But I think it worked out better in the end. I think death is fine as long as there's some, a little bit of meaning and stuff, and
I put a lot of pressure on Nephili too, and I thought she was the leader for a while. But I also kind of forced you into that position, so that could have been maybe a little too much from me as the DM. But I don't know. I just felt like that player was that person.
Oh yeah, no, I felt like it was right because she wanted to be upfront. She wanted to be like in your face, and she kind of had to learn a little bit from that. And it was kind of a situation that was a no-win situation, and we could have handled it differently too. But that's what happened.
Uh, and Eric, now I know that you have embraced the possibility of Lafian dying, but is this something that you've considered before or thought about before, having a character death?
So, having played enough, I feel like this is the first time in a campaign where I'm comfortable, I'm happy with what's going on, and as much as I want it to make it to the end, if it happens, like I don't feel anything about it now. I'm just kind of like, oh, okay, well, it creates an opportunity for this. But I've never really, I haven't never thought about my character dying. So
No.
now that I've prepared myself, I'm like, oh, well, it could be an opportunity for someone. Oh yeah, yeah, but
Well, yeah. I just like the thought of it was like, you
Mm.
know,
like tackling dying, like well, what do I do now? Like Ramon dying, what do I do now? I didn't ever think about it because I was always like, oh, I'm this character,
yeah.
and now well, I'm this character, but with how close I've come so many times, I've been prepared.
Right.
Since the first snake fight where I was falling over into the snake trying to kill it. Like,
You did
I'm
kill
like,
it.
okay, there's a good chance. There's a really good chance. So I'm like, so I've been thinking as a backup the entire campaign. I've been
Yeah.
taking notes and going, okay, what's happening? What do I feel would be interesting? And what could I maybe bring that would be interesting to kind of mess with the dynamic of the party?
So it has really pretty much been since session one.
Yeah, I've been ready since session one because I'm like, we've all been pretty lucky through most of the campaigns, and there have been some punches pulled through most of the campaigns. I don't feel like that this has been the campaign outside of the bag, which was like, admittedly on your part, just trying something.
Yeah.
And you teleporting us was probably more interesting than dying.
Right. Yeah, no, it
I
definitely
thought
turned
that was
into.
still nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it definitely turned into way better option because you guys
Yeah.
played it so well, and where you guys ended up, and the things that happened, and just the growth from that alone. So.
It's still super dangerous and scary. Like anything could have happened with two characters and three characters separate.
You ended up going somewhere you didn't have prepared that you just showed off your DM skills by just doing whatever and it worked. No Ken was probably one of the best parts of the campaign so far.
Awesome. We got many more places with many more ideas. I'm trying to utilize some more class options. It's really hard, but I want to be able to do that. And just try and use your characters a little bit. I know that we have so many stories that are already on the table and things that are already in play that we need to get to. But forewarning, there are many more things still happening.
I think that's part of the fun in this campaign is like, sometimes it's something might seem super important, but you gotta kind of pick at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And like maybe my story is not as important now, or maybe we need to focus on someone else, and just learning about all that's really cool.
Yeah, that's one of the things I'm trying not to do is put too many dire situations in front of you. Like some things may seem dire, but they're not. Other things may be dire, but I don't want like 5 dire things that you have to get done, but all of them by next week. And there's,
Right.
like that just sucks because there's no way to do that. Now you just failed 4 things and like you didn't have to know about that.
I think the pacing has been great. I think, we've done a ton of role playing, and it may seem lower than usual, but it's in a good way because we're all experiencing personalities and new things and having fun in the world.
But that's just over an hour, so I will let you guys
Yeah.
get back to your day. Hopefully you guys join me again, because obviously we got a lot more that we can talk about.
Yeah.
Hopefully the recording went well, and I'm going to go ahead and stop.